Today we're diving into 10 FL Studio hacks that will keep your projects clean, organized, and most importantly, make you produce more efficient and faster. So tip number 1, numbering your favorite plugins for quick access. Instead of manually scrolling and searching for your favorite plugins, you can just have access to them with one keystroke. Simply add the number before your VST's name and FL Studio will recognize it as a unique VST, therefore it's gonna open instantly. For example, add the number 1 before your favorite synth. For me it's Serum, so when I just click 1, it's gonna open instantly. All you need to do is to navigate to the plugin database folder, right click and open, and then head over to the effects or generators and simply copy and paste your Serum, for example, and add the number 1 in front of it. Now whenever I press 1, it's gonna open Serum, and you can do that for multiple synths and effects if you want. So for example, for me 2 is Shaperbox, 3 is ProQ, 4 is Fruity Reverb 2, and 5 is Suit. Of course you can customize it however you want and what suits you best. Tip number 2, creating custom templates. Starting with a fully loaded project with all the mixer tracks, buses, and favorite samples already in there saves up a lot of time and prevents you from reinventing the wheel every single time. To create an FL Studio template, you can open any project file and set up the master, the mixing channels, buses, or even tempo information, or add just your own samples instead of those horrible samples that come in the default template. Then if you're happy enough with the template, just click on File, Save as Template, and enter the template name. You can access your template in the file, new from template, and you're gonna see the new template pop in here. And if you want to load your template every single time, just click on change default template and go down to miscellaneous and just change the template to the one you want. I recommend you making a few templates, for example a startup template, mixing template, or a sound design template where you can load a ton of weird different plugins so you can experiment easily. For example, this is my mixing template where I have my master, my drum bass, synth bass, and vocal bass already set up so I can just start whenever. Also have a sidechain bass ready. So yeah, you can do whatever you want, whatever suits you best. Tip number 3, save and reuse presets. Presets aren't limited to synth patches. You can have mixer presets, effect presets, and so many more, and they can drastically cut up the time to set up. For example, you can use some interesting vocal chains you have made in the past. You can go back to your projects and save them, or just save some interesting EQ presets you made, and you can reuse them and speed up the workflow. To save any mixer preset, you can just press Ctrl, Shift, and S, and I recommend you to make a nice folder structure for the mixer presets. It's gonna be much easier to find them. For example, I have a couple of bass design presets, some buses, some drum design, some masters I have, some synth processing presets from my signature sounds, and just vocal buses as I said. So you can maybe do the same or do something of your own. Tip number 4, quick reverse reverb. When working on a track and making transitions, reverse reverb can be a very useful technique to introduce new sounds in your track, but it can be unnecessarily time-consuming to make one. So the fastest way for me is with Edison. You can record a specific sound or just drop a sample into Edison, then click Ctrl R and click enter, then press Alt and left arrow key, and then you can just drag and drop it into your playlist. Slow. Tip number 5, copying mixer tracks. When I was starting out and I wanted to copy the exact mixer channel from one channel to another, I would just manually select all the plugins and settings by hand, but there's a better way. Let's say you want to copy this exact mixer track to another insert. Just right click on the track, go to File, Save Mixer Track State As, and left click and hold and drag it to another insert. And it's easy as that, couple minutes saved. Tip number 6, purging unused samples and plugins. Projects in FL Studio can get very messy and cluttered with unwanted samples and plugins that eat up your RAM and CPU. To clean up your unused samples, go to Tools, Macros, and click on Purge Unused Audio Clips. And boom, they're gone. To remove any unused synths, go to Tools, Macros, select Unused Channels, and just click Alt and Delete, and click OK. And that deleted any of our channels that we didn't use. Before purging, double check if there's any sample or synth that you need in the project and you don't want it to get deleted. Tip number 7, organizing your plugin database. When installing new plugins, they get put around all over the place, and finding them can be especially hard if you have hundreds of them. To fix this, you can rearrange them into folders in some kind of nice way. To do this, once again go to plugin database, right click on it and open, and then just go to your effects or generators, and here you can make a specific folder structure that works for you. For example, I have my plugins grouped by their type, for example reverb and delay, distortion, color, or by vendor like FabFilter, Kilohertz, Sound Toys, or Oak Sound, and this saves me a lot of time to navigate all of my plugins plugins since I have a ton of them, and I definitely recommend you to take the time and clean these folders up. Tip number 8, building your own sample or stamp library. By doing so, you can keep all your favorite samples in one place, and if you're producing and you're in a flow, you just grab a sample from a library that you know that works, for example an effect, and you don't have to scroll through your entire library to find it. Exporting stamps from your old tracks can also help a lot with your workflow, as you can reuse them and you can kind of keep building your sound and still be very effective. For example, I like to use effect stamps from my older tracks in my new tracks. Tip number 9, shortcuts. FL Studio is packed with a lot of shortcuts that keeps you from scrolling through menus, and here's a few of my favorite ones. Select the channel, click Ctrl L, and it's gonna be automatically assigned to the mixer channel. You can do that with multiple selected channels as well. When you click the mouse wheel on your mixer tracks or your channels, you can quickly rename them and color them. When you want to copy a channel, just hold Alt and C, and if you want to delete a channel, click Alt and Delete. To render your track, click Ctrl and R. To group channels, click Alt and G, and this is for example gonna be the bass group. And when you click on the channel display filter, you can find the bass group over here. To quickly duplicate samples or patterns, click Ctrl and B. To merge multiple patterns into one, just select the patterns and click Ctrl G. And to quickly consolidate any sound, just click it and then Ctrl, Alt and C. Tip number 10, automation clip management. As we all know, automation clips in FL Studio are amazing, but they can get super messy and super cluttered over time when you automate a lot of sounds. But here are some tips to avoid it. Number 1, automate different parameters with one automation. Imagine you have two automations that are doing the exact same thing. You can just use one and link it to all the other parameters. For example, I want this second balance to be automated by this automation that we have in here. You can just go to link to controller and we can just select the automation that we have in the playlist. Now if you change the automation, it's gonna take effect on both of these parameters. Number 2, easily copy and paste automation clips. To copy the state of one automation to the other, you can just click on this wrench tool, click A and C. And to paste the state on another automation, you can just click on the wrench tool again, click A and P. And if you get a grip of it, it's gonna be super fast. Number 3, lock automation clips. This one is great for avoiding frustration when you solo tracks and you don't hear the automations coming through. And all you need to do is, for example, on a separate automation track, you just click Shift and click on this green button. It's just gonna lock. And when you solo a sound, the automation clips will also be soloed with it. Number 4, delete unwanted automations. So imagine you made an automation of your master. This is not very good to do and you want to get rid of it and you just delete it and you think you're done. But when you play the track and you raise the volume up, it's still going down to the value that you automated it with. So how the hell can you get rid of this? It's actually very easy. You go to the current project tab on the top, go to initialize controls, and there you see master volume. Just right click, delete event, and now you can just adjust the master volume back and it's not going down. And it's very frustrating that you have to do that, but this is how FL works. And there you have it, my favorite FL Studio workflow tips to keep you less frustrated with the workflow and have more fun when producing. If you found this video helpful, smash the like button and subscribe if you want more of these kind of tutorials in the future. I'd love to hear your workflow tips in FL Studio that I didn't cover here, so comment them down below and maybe we can learn something together as well. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.